What is up, my bros, nerds, friends, family of YouTube world? I don't have a cool intro, but eventually it'll come. But today, your boy, Mustache Man Sam, is diving back into the 4.8 liter LS Vortec Chevy engine for my rock crawler. If you guys didn't watch the last video, pause, go watch it now. But we went ahead and ripped the heads, the valve train, and attempted to pull the front harmonic balancer off of the motor, which I got denied. My tool broke. So if you didn't watch that video, go ahead, watch it. It'll get you caught up to speed about what you're gonna see on today's video. But right before I left, I made it a mission to go ahead and get that pulley off the front of the engine, which, as you can tell, I did. I borrowed a 3-jaw puller from a guy at work, and a little bit of heat, extra force, it came off. So that's off. I ripped the oil pan off, and I was tired of staring at the rusty, crusty block, so I threw some engine enamel on it. So it definitely looks a little bit better, and it is finally time to dive into the cam, timing chain, and oil pump side of this rebuild. So without further ado, oh, one last surprise. Remember how I was like dying in sweat in the last video? If you watched it, I went ahead and threw an AC unit in the window so I could be out here a little more comfortable filming YouTube videos for you guys. So now, without further ado, let's jump into the cam swap. Let's go. Alright, so underneath this cover that I just pulled all the bolts off on is going to be an oil pump, a cam gear, a main gear, and a timing chain. So to pull that cam out, we gotta get this cover off. This is your front main seal, obviously, that the dampener sits inside of. So gotta pop this cover off next, and then we will get to the oil pump and work on getting the cam out of this engine. Alright, now with this cover off, as you can see, I started pulling these oil pump bolts out. There's going to be 4 of them on here, and there's going to be a pickup on the bottom. So we'll want to go ahead and get these bolts out. Let's talk oil pump real quick. You don't always have to replace it every time you do a cam swap. I like to think of it as cheap insurance. So I went ahead and ordered a Mellon's stock GM style pump. Whenever you go to order a new pump, you'll hear 3 different terms: stock, high volume, high pressure. For my application, we're just gonna be running a stock style pump. You always hear the horror stories, or if you haven't heard the horror stories, you will, that people sometimes will do the high pressure pump and or the high volume pump. And what'll happen is it runs the possibility of actually running the motor dry, more or less, pulling more oil than what the engine kind of can handle. So for my application, I'm just going to do a stock volume, stock pressure, GM Mellon's type replacement. So that's the plan. Go ahead and unbolt this pickup tube, and we should be able to slide this pump right off. So my chain obviously has some play in it. Whether that's good or bad, I truthfully don't know. I assume that seems a little excessive, but we won't know until we put the new chain on. Chains over time can stretch, so that's pretty much why we were replacing this one. Let's go ahead and work on getting the cam gear off so we get the timing chain off. See, I just went ahead and spun the motor over to get this up on top dead center. That is pretty much that piston flush on number 1. And to verify, on your cam, you're gonna have a timing mark, and on the crank, you're also going to have, where is it? A timing mark. So you want those perfectly aligned. If you're 180 degrees out, this timing mark will be at the top, and your crank will still be here at the top as well. We just want those right beside each other like that. That's top dead center. Now we can go ahead and pop our cam bolts off and slide the cam and timing chain off this engine. right, so now we got the cam broke free. Nothing to it but to do it. Out with the old and in with the new. All right, before we go ahead and stab the cam back into this engine, here she lays. It is a Summit Performance Camshaft. It is a Sum-871-8R1. I believe it is a truck stage 1 low lift towing cam. Pretty cheap, it's like 200 bucks or so. It's a 500 lift, so we're not gaining a crazy amount of performance with it, and it's not gonna sound like a race car, but should be perfect for this application. And we can say the crawler has a cam in it. So let's go ahead and get this thing lubed up and thrown back into the engine. Ooh, don't fall. Okay. If anyone wants the spec sheet, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there it is. Put some gloves on. What we're going to be using to lube this cam up is Permatec Ultra Slick. Just a general assembly lube is all it is. I don't think there's one that's better than any other. It just happened to be what my store had, so that's what we're going to go with. So now it's time to go ahead and throw the gear and chain back onto said engine. What I like to do, at least what I saw on YouTube, and I was like, that makes sense, so I like to do that. Go ahead and pre-soak the chain in oil. We're gonna go ahead and take our gear and our chain, and we're going to hang it right on the cam. Timing marks match. Chain is on, a lot less tension. So yeah, that other chain was stretched out a little bit. We'll go ahead and put our bolts back in with a little bit of that blue Loctite on it. It's just medium strength, nothing crazy. I mean, we got to be able to get these bolts back out, but it wouldn't be good if these bolts came loose and fell down into the gear drive. With the pump on the front of the motor, now it is up to the cover and the front main seal. This thing is dirty, so I'm going to go ahead off camera quick, get this all cleaned up, pop this seal out, and try to get a new seal in, possibly even paint this a fancy color, or it'll just stay polished, but we'll see. Boys, well, it has been a few days. It's like 2 days later or something, but that front timing cover was kicking my butt, so I hit Cody up from the Altered Life and the Ultra YJ on Instagram, and he has a blast cabinet, so he went ahead and cleaned that plate up for me, the front timing cover, and I brought it home, slapped a little bit of paint on it, and that's gonna look pretty cool. Just got to knock a front seal into it. But before we do that, we got to flip this engine over. We got to get the oil pump pickup tube hooked up and the oil pan slapped on this motor. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's finish off this video and let's get it edited and out to you guys in a timely fashion. So here we go. Dry fitting the oil pan, I've come to the conclusion that the oil pan itself is hitting this windage tray. And after doing a little bit of research, it seems a lot of people run into that issue. So we have to pull this back off, pull that back apart, and trim our tray down to make this pan fit. So I'm gonna do that quick. Just went ahead and cut that tray just enough to give enough clearance for that pan. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the pan on there and then get it bolted up, flip this motor over. Last little piece of the puzzle is this bougie K&N filter that we're going to throw onto the pan. And of course we're going to over tighten it just a little bit. She's on. All right, guys. I always say, all right, guys. Guys, it is the official end of this video. We went ahead and knocked out that oil pump timing chain, front cover, oil pan. We got her done. I don't know if you can see it, but motor looks good. The next video, make sure to check it out. We're gonna be slapping the heads back onto the engine. We're also going to be doing those bronze bushings for the rockers. So if you're interested in watching a video about upgrading your valve train, make sure to check it out. Video is over. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on the gram. Your boy Hunk of Junk is out.